Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today, one of the most requested stories today, was the very confusing situation around Kenneka Jenkins. Before moving forward, I want to just kind of preface this with, I was a little concerned about even covering this story. And the reason for that is that there's some information around it, but there's just a lot of speculation. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of confusion, a lot of it, though, coming from people that very much care about the situation, want justice of some sort. And as we've seen in the past, that concern, that investigative work online, it can be very helpful, but also very misleading and wrong. And so that's why I have a little bit of a concern of even talking about this, but I will also be talking about this in what we do know, what we don't know, and what people are speculating. So that said, let's talk about Chicago, where Kenneka Jenkins was found dead in a hotel freezer on Sunday. And so let's start with a timeline. Friday, 11:30 p.m. Kenneka Jenkins borrows her mother's car and tells her she's going to go hang out with some friends. And Jenkins then goes to a hotel room party at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel. Saturday at 1:30 a.m. Kenneka's sister talks to her on the phone. This is the last time anyone in the family hears from her. 1:36 a.m. A Facebook live stream is posted that allegedly shows Jenkins and the girl who's streaming mirrored sunglasses. And this live stream will eventually go viral from people trying to find out more information about what actually happened. There are also other videos that have surfaced from the night that allegedly show Jenkins in them, but it's hard to figure out what time they were posted. Then 3:20 a.m. According to police, Jenkins is seen on surveillance video stumbling near the front desk. But this footage isn't found until 10 p.m. As far as why, we'll get to that. 4:34 a.m. Kenneka's mom receives a phone call from Jenkins's friends. They say that they lost track of Kenneka, but they have her car, which she borrowed, and her cell phone. And they later dropped the car and cell phone off to her. And according to the mother, the friends said that they were with Jenkins ready to leave when they realized she had left the car keys in the room. The friends say they leave Jenkins waiting in the hallway as they go to get the keys, and when they return with the keys, she was gone. 5 a.m. Jenkins's family shows up to the hotel to try to find her. According to the mother, the hotel staff refused to look at surveillance footage until they had a missing persons report. So the family calls police to file a report, and the police say that they should just wait a few hours. 1:15 p.m. The hotel is notified by police that there is a missing teen, and the official search begins. The police search the 9th floor where the party was and the common areas. 6 p.m. Kenneka's family gets frustrated with the lack of results and begin to knock on doors at random, just trying to find anyone that may have seen something. 10 p.m. That surveillance footage of Jenkins in the lobby is found. And then on Sunday, 12:25 a.m., Jenkins's body is discovered in one of the walk-in freezers in the hotel. At this point, she had been missing for almost 24 hours. And as far as why no one found her in a walk-in freezer, reportedly the freezer was not being used to store food. Gary Mack, a spokesperson for the Village of Rosemont, saying, "There is some construction activity where a new restaurant is being built, and she was found in that vicinity." Adding, "This is not an area where anyone would typically be who was a guest in the hotel." 12:48 a.m. The county coroner pronounces Jenkins dead with the cause of death to be determined after the autopsy. 5 a.m. The mother is asked to identify the daughter's body, and at this time she says the detective told her that these accidents happen from time to time, saying that her daughter had drunkenly locked herself into the freezer. And by the end of the day, the autopsy had been performed, but they have not released any specifics about how she died. And right now it does appear that the police are treating this as a death case and not a homicide. But a spokesperson adding that everything is on the table. That said, police are still investigating. They've been interviewing people that have been identified as being at that party. Police Chief Donald E. Stevens III saying, "The Rosemont Public Safety Department is currently reviewing and analyzing all social media content and videos along with surveillance video from the Crowne Plaza Hotel. A total of 47 hotel cameras are currently being analyzed by our investigators. But many others are not convinced. That including Jenkins's mother, who doesn't believe that she would have even been able to open that door."
You got to struggle, and at my job with our coolers, you got to have some strength to yank these doors open. Now, imagine they said she couldn't barely hold herself up, yet alone pull open the door.
Others saying the story doesn't add up. The friends reportedly saying that Kenneka forgot her keys, but then why did they go up to get the keys? If she was too drunk to get the keys, why would anyone leave her alone? And people start going through that live stream video saying, oh, at 3:08 you can hear someone say, "Help me." Though there's so much noise, there are people disputing that, and there have been theories and accusations going around saying that the friends set her up. Theories that they wanted to prank her and it went wrong, that they actually set her up to be sexually assaulted, that she was killed on purpose and then moved. But as of right now, so much of that is based off of speculation and kind of garbled audio, low-quality video where people are trying to see what's in the reflection of sunglasses. I mean, really, all we know at this point, and I mean we as the public, is that there was a party at the hotel and people were smoking weed and they were drinking liquor. Kenneka was there, but as of right now, we don't know the time of death, which is also important because it will be horrible if it turns out that Kenneka had not died by the time her family was there looking for her, and all that legal red tape got in the way of her being saved. We also, as of right now, do not know the cause of death. We know the police said they have security camera footage that says they saw her near the front desk, but we don't know how she got into the freezer. Is Kenneka on any of the other security footage? And if she is, was there anyone else with her? And that's where we are right now. Now, do I know what actually happened? No. Do I think it's feasible that it was just an accident with the information we have so far? Yes. Now, that said, I'm glad the police are interviewing all these people, that they're looking through all of this, so maybe we can have some some closure. And hopefully we get a final answer soon, but on the other end of things, it's also so incredibly dangerous that many people have already labeled specific friends as people who set up Kenneka Jenkins to be raped and murdered. Like if you search Kenneka Jenkins on Twitter, there are people that just think that is a fact right now. And it ultimately ends up being this weird story of this case most likely wouldn't be taken as seriously if it wasn't for social media. But if it does turn out this was 100% an accident, we are seeing the ugly head of the internet here. And that said, I'd love to know your thoughts on this story, the reaction to it, the speculation, anything. Just let me know what you're thinking in those comments down below. And then let's talk about this crazy story coming out of New Hampshire around an 8-year-old boy named Quincy. Reportedly on August 28th, Quincy was playing with a group of teenagers 2 doors down from his home. And according to Quincy's grandmother, the group of white teens he was playing with began calling him racial slurs, throwing rocks at him. Then things escalated when they stepped up on a picnic table and grabbed a rope from an old tire swing. The older boys allegedly putting the ropes around their necks, then telling Quincy that it was his turn to do it. And according to Quincy's mother, Quincy got up on the table and put the rope around his neck. And another kid came up from behind him and pushed him off the picnic table. And they walked away and left him there hanging. Now there were no adults present, but Quincy's 11-year-old sister saw what happened. She described Quincy kicking his feet, grabbing at his neck, and turning purple. She began screaming for help while Quincy reportedly swung from the tree 3 or 4 times before freeing himself. And soon after, when the mother found out what happened, she rushed him to the local hospital. There, doctors recommended Quincy be airlifted and transported to another medical facility. And while he didn't suffer any internal injuries, he sustained cuts and rope burns to his neck. And the mother shared a photo of Quincy's injuries online in a post that's now deleted. It's just horrible to look at. And in this post, she wrote, "So my son is being flown to Dartmouth after a 14-year-old kid decided to hang him from a tree. I don't care if this was a so-called accident or not. My son almost died because of some little shit teenage kids. Quincy is doing okay, just keep him in your prayers." So of course the question becomes, well, what happens now? Well, right now there's a lot of debate as to whether this is a hate crime. According to the family, this incident wasn't the first time the neighborhood teenagers used racial slurs or physical violence against Quincy. Quincy's mother is saying the words lynched and white pride were used during the incident, this leading them to believe he was targeted because he was biracial. And as far as the police investigation into all of this, Police Chief Mark Chase initially wouldn't really comment much. And he also faced a lot of criticism and backlash for something he said about the juvenile suspects. Reportedly, he said these people need to be protected, adding mistakes they make as a young child should not have to follow them for the rest of their life. And that angered a lot of people because they said it sounded like the police chief was more concerned about the perpetrators of this horrible thing than Quincy, the child who was actually the victim of it. And then on Tuesday, he put out a special press release where he said he understands the community wants answers, but a lot of the details cannot be released right now. That because the case involves minors under the age of 14. And in that statement, adding, if we receive information that a crime has been committed and that the actor was substantially motivated to commit that crime because of hostility towards the victim's religion, race, creed, sexual orientation, national origin, or sex, we will seek remedies through enhanced sentencing laws. But as of right now, investigators have not yet determined whether the case warrants prosecution as a hate crime. And since all of this, we've seen a lot of people voicing their opinions, activists standing up, protests. You have people worried that the police and the city have been just downplaying this story, but now that there's a lot of attention, now they're handling it. And so that's where we are with this situation right now. And then let me throw in my opinion. Right off the bat, with the police chief saying, you know, we don't want these mistakes affecting these kids for the rest of their lives. A mistake is a kid throwing a rock up into the sky and it accidentally fell on someone's head. It's not a bunch of white teenagers talking the 8-year-old black kid into putting a rope around his neck and then pushing him off the picnic table and then not even helping him, just going away. To me, at the very least, this situation looks like extreme bullying, something that was violent, something that needs to be massively punished. And I ultimately just end up leaving the situation feeling disgusted that something like this is actually happening now. But with that said, I want to pass the question off to you. What is your takeaway here? Do you think this is a straightforward case of a hate crime being committed, or do you think that there's something here? It could have been an accident. We're talking about teenagers here. Does that somehow make it different? I'd love to know your thoughts here because I've seen a lot of different arguments. And then let's talk about Donald Trump in the news because, a lot of Donald Trump's base is not happy with him today. Many of them are treating this like a WWE heel turn, which actually, oh my God, that might actually be the best way to kind of describe what happened this morning. This high-level recreation kind of sums up the situation.
Shades of TLC! Concerto City! Oh my God!
Okay, so to bring you up to speed, it was being reported that Democratic leaders Pelosi and Schumer had reached an agreement with Trump. Following a dinner at the White House, they said they had, quote, agreed to enshrine the protections of DACA into law quickly and to work out a package of border security excluding the wall that's acceptable to both sides. Now, immediately following this, a lot of Trump's core base thought one of two things. That's either fake news, Trump would never do that, or, oh my God, he's betrayed us. Then this morning, Trump tweeted, no deal was made last night on DACA. Massive border security would have to be agreed to in exchange for consent, would be subject to vote. Trump also clarifying the situation to reporters.
There was no deal, and they didn't say they had a deal. In fact, they just put out a statement. They didn't say that at all.
Okay, so no official deal, but also he doesn't mention the wall here. Then Pelosi and Schumer issued a statement clarifying what they said they meant last night, saying what remains to be negotiated are the details of border security, with a mutual goal of finalizing all details as soon as possible. While both sides agreed that the wall would not be any part of this agreement, the president made clear he intends to pursue it at a later time, and we made clear we would continue to oppose it. And this also appeared to be true from Trump's side, because when talking to the media, he said that there is no deal, but
the wall will come later. We're right now renovating large sections of wall, massive sections, making it brand new. We're doing a lot of renovation. We're building 4 different samples of the wall to see which one we're going to choose, and the wall is going to be built. It'll be funded a little bit later.
And regarding DACA, Trump tweeted, does anybody really want to throw out good, educated, and accomplished young people who have jobs, some serving in the military? Really? They've been in our country for many years through no fault of their own, brought in by parents at young age, plus big border security. And regarding the wall, he wrote, the wall, which is already under construction in the form of new renovation of old and existing fences and walls, will continue to be built. And holy hell, it was so incredibly interesting to go to any place that is notoriously pro-Trump. Breitbart reporting Trump caves on DACA, wants quick amnesty for 800,000 illegal aliens. And if you look at the comments, there you go to the subreddit, the Donald, you're seeing a lot of people that feel betrayed. And it's very confusing to me that Donald Trump did not realize that a lot of his core base would be angered by this. He tweets, does anyone really want to do this? Really? Yes, there are many people, and a lot of them voted for you. And understand, I'm not bashing Trump for this. This is an incredibly complex situation. And understand, I'm not talking about the illegal immigrants, the adults, they themselves who jumped over the border, but dreamers who, according to many experts, actually have a positive effect for our country and economy. And if anything, the situation leads me to believe that one of 2 things is happening. One, Donald Trump is very much against illegal immigration, but he's okay with the dreamers. By doing what he's done over the past 2 weeks, he just wants DACA to be legal. Or Trump is using this specifically, the future of around 800,000 plus people in the United States, as leverage. But leverage for what, if not specifically the wall, just the border security? I mean, I feel like this situation in the Trump presidency in general has resulted in people just ending up on the same side that they didn't expect. Ann Coulter, one of the first people to say that Donald Trump could and would be president, who was laughed at initially, was tweeting this morning about, at this point, who doesn't want Donald Trump impeached? You know how crazy that is? I have liberal friends that don't know what to do now that they agree with Ann Coulter on something. But with all of that said, what actually happens next? Who knows? It feels like the whole country and world has just been kind of winging it for a little bit. There's no way to successfully predict what's going to happen next. We are in a political sandstorm. And actually, update to the story proving that we don't know what's going to happen whatsoever. Donald Trump has now updated his statement just 2 hours after saying the wall will come later. After several hours of saying we want to get these people out of our country, really? He told reporters that he won't do anything on DACA unless the wall becomes a reality. Saying not necessarily in the legislation, but at some point in the future. Saying we have to make sure the wall isn't obstructed because without the wall I wouldn't do anything. It doesn't have to be here, but they can't obstruct the wall if it's in a budget or anything else. Which that makes me ask, well, if it's not in the actual legislation, are you and Schumer doing a pinky promise? And regarding DACA, he said, we're not looking at citizenship, we're not looking at amnesty, we're looking at allowing people to stay here. I just spoke with Paul Ryan, everybody's on board. And so that part's a little bit confusing because you're saying that it's not amnesty, it's not citizenship. So most likely you're talking about a situation that involves conditional green cards for all the DACA recipients, but maybe still not given citizenship. And so for a lot of Trump's base, that's not any better than he calling for and feeling they were promised deportation. You can say that it's not amnesty, but you still have people that are technically not supposed to be here being allowed to be here. So the difference for many people in his base that are angry is so minimal that it doesn't make it better for them. Anyway, back into the sandstorm we go. And that's actually where I'm going to end today's show. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you missed yesterday's very important Philip DeFranco show, you want to watch that, click or tap right there. Or if you want to watch the newest behind the scenes vlog, click or tap right there. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you next time.